Hey guys, welcome to my podcast. Let's have a real talk. In today's episode, we have Mia, as she will be sharing her story on her experience with high-functioning depression and anxiety, as well as PTSD. Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, okay, cool. You can hear me. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Hi guys, welcome to the podcast and welcome Mia. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, of course. So, this is Mia. She's a super cool person. When I first met her, I met her on Zoom as a new student at my school, and let me tell you, she is super awesome. But Mia knows herself better than I do, so go ahead and give yourself a short introduction.
Okay, thank you. You're so sweet. So like Louis said, my name is Mia, and I'm a senior at Bitney Prep. I just really wanted to be a part of this project because I think it's really, really amazing what you're doing. And thanks again for having me.
Of course. It is awesome to have you. All right, so I guess we should get started. I am pulling up a document, which I accidentally just closed out, so whoops. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So, Mia has volunteered to share her mental health story today, and I am honestly really excited to hear it, so let's get into it.
All right, so sorry if I first of all, I'm going to preface this because I wrote this up, tried to be as explanatory as possible, but if it doesn't make sense, let me know as I'm going.
All right.
So, I have high-functioning depression, and for those of you who don't know, that means that even though I may be suffering mentally, my life doesn't accurately depict this mental impairment. Oftentimes, significant life impairment or dysfunction is a criteria for diagnosis, which means that people with high-functioning mental illnesses often go untreated and unnoticed. I first started noticing that I was having some mental health problems around the age of 11. And I started to experience signs of depression, dark thoughts, had trouble sleeping, and self-destructive behaviors. I kind of isolate myself from my peers and struggled in social situations. But I didn't really believe anything was wrong because I was still excelling in school, and in the social situations I did have, everyone would describe me as kind of, friendly and lively. And I continue to express goals for my future. And even as my depression evolved as I got older, I still convinced myself that I was faking it or that there was nothing wrong because my progress, academically, still remained relatively unaffected. And from the ages of 14 to 15, I was in an abusive relationship which left me with PTSD, unfortunately, which is the only diagnosis I've ever actually received. But even then, people still manage to kind of discredit what I'm experiencing because I don't let it stop me from achieving. I still suffer from PTSD and some forms of high-functioning depression and anxiety, and yet I have gone undiagnosed and untreated majorly. To teachers, I'm known as an A+ student. To peers, I'm always reaching out and offering social connections. And to my friends, I'm funny and driven. And I am all of those things. I love my friends, school, and have a lot of enthusiasm about my future. But that doesn't mean I don't struggle. No one ever checks up on me to see if I'm okay, because I don't appear not to be. So I think it's really important to recognize that not everyone deals with mental health the same way, and just because someone appears to be okay, doesn't mean that they are. Progress doesn't mean motivation, socializing doesn't mean happy, and existing doesn't mean living. I have come really far in my mental health journey by accepting myself and attempting to explain to others what I've experienced. Maybe not super cohesively, but I do try. But some of the things that have helped me is pacing myself and being honest with myself about how I'm feeling. When you have an awareness of how your brain works, you're able to provide a healthier environment for yourself. For example, I might be doing homework and getting really stressed out to a point where I'm not even able to do the homework I'm stressing myself out about. And when I catch myself doing this, I take a step back, turn off my computer, go make myself some tea, and come back to it when I feel more steady. This can also serve you when you're able to recognize how certain situations and people affect your mental health. Overall, I think being observant and honest with how I'm feeling has been an essential part to my recovery.
That's awesome, Mia. Thank you for sharing your story. That's great. I know that seems very hard because it's very easy to feel undervalued when you're struggling so much, yet you're able to accomplish so much. So I can kind of understand that for sure. But let's see, I'm going to ask some follow-up questions. So my first question is, do you hope to get medication or proper treatment one day? And if so, what will that look like?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, I think I've come to realize that reaching out for help doesn't make my experience any less or like demean how what I've gone through, which has really helped me reach out for the help that I do need. And I'm currently doing therapy, but I would like to get some medication eventually.
Awesome. Medication can be very helpful in some experiences. It's not for everyone, but some people, it benefits them greatly. Who is a supportive figure in your life?
Definitely my mom. She's a huge supporter in my life. She has dealt with a lot in her life as well, and so she can understand somewhat where I'm coming from when I explain to her some of my mental struggles or things that I go through. And even when she doesn't understand, she tries her best to listen, which is really nice because sometimes you don't quite understand yourself, and just to have someone there to listen to you is, I think, really important.
Definitely. There's so many people out there who are willing to listen, and I think that's really great.
Mm-hmm.
How did you come to terms with the fact that you have mental illness?
Honestly, it was mostly done from research on my end, like Googling, social media, comparing my experiences to others and hoping to gain more insight from that. And eventually I had a well-rounded understanding of my mind and its workings. But I still don't have a clear box I can sort what I deal with into, which is okay, even though it can be frustrating sometimes. But things like this, your mentality, life, it's a learning process, and there's never going to be 100% clear answer. And I think that that's something that I've had to grapple with and realize that I'm never going to one day say, oh, this is what's wrong, and let me just now that's the solution. It's going to be an ever evolving process.
Definitely. It's great that you've learned how to kind of realize that a little better and grow through that. How could you put your mental illness into perspective for someone who may be doubtful that high-functioning depression and anxiety are real?
So, I'll try my best with this one because, again, sometimes what I'm saying is understandable to me, but not to everybody else. But the best way I could describe it is I feel hopeless a lot, or all the work I do is surface level and I'll end up failing anyway. I feel empty a lot, almost like I'm running on fumes. Burnout is definitely something that I experience. But at the same time, the only thing I can be sure is real is the work I do and physical pain, which is why I struggled with self-harm in the past, because all my other emotions to me sometimes feel projected or unreal, and those are the only things that I have substantial evidence of being real. And I have little to no desire to socialize because I feel like if I get attached to someone, it will deter my progress. And all the work I do is still never enough in my eyes. So even though it's the only thing that feels real to me, it's still not enough. But I think that I'm learning to understand myself better and work through these things and kind of just I think meditation is a really good tool to use to like determine how you're really feeling and work past that in a healthy way.
For sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
What ways can you signal to your loved ones that you are going through a hard time and could use some support?
To be honest, sometimes I don't really want support because I'd rather just feel my emotions in my own space. But when I do want support, I'm usually able to just tell them, and most of the time they're pretty receptive. They also encourage me to take breaks and take care of my health, mental and physical, which is nice when sometimes I'm not monitoring it.
For sure, it's really important to take care of yourself even if you don't feel like it or you're not noticing it. And it's helpful to have people who can just be like, hey, I notice you're not drinking enough water or getting enough sleep and so on, How do you feel after sharing your story today?
I haven't really talked to anybody about this other than my mom and my therapist, so it was really nice to talk to you today. And I hope that some people will be able to hear this and realize they're not alone in what they're feeling, because a lot of the time, especially early on with my mental health battles, I really just felt very invalidated by myself because I didn't see that this was something that other people were experiencing. And so I hope that, your podcast in general can kind of reach people and have them realize that, like, hey, other people are dealing with this. I'm not alone.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, this was Mia, everyone, and I hope that her story can impact you. And thank you for joining us today. And thank you, Mia. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
To hear more powerful stories, tune in next time to Let's Have a Real Talk.